It's something that we have been expecting for the last few days. We have seen that the Calais, there has been a lot of protest. There has been quite a lot of, anti-coup activities, and we knew that a crackdown was probably quite imminent. And it is unfortunate what's happening, but we have seen time and again that the military is really brutal, unrepentant and unaccountable when it comes to the way it treats its own people. And that's what we're seeing today outside of the two big cities, like you said, in Calais.
And you've told us before on this channel of the need for the international community to do more, to get involved, to put more pressure on the military junta in Myanmar. Can I take it that you're still not satisfied by the type of words you're hearing coming from the international community?
No, unfortunately, no. I have to say that I am definitely not satisfied. A lot of the countries have been calling for the junta to, refrain from violence and come to the negotiation table. They are not going to refrain from violence. They are not coming to the negotiating table unless you kick them dragging and screaming. And the only way you can do that is to hit their pockets. Now, the US and the UK have started a couple of weeks ago to sanction the two large military conglomerates. Europe needs to follow. ASEAN needs to follow. And there's a lot of other companies and operations that are still, providing a lot of foreign currency to the junta. That needs to stop.
Can I ask you about the developments in London with the ambassador, Jia Zhuamin, being shut out of his own embassy? And clearly he was recalled back in March. He stayed put, still doing his job, still recognised by the United Kingdom as Myanmar's ambassador there. What's your reaction to what's happening to him? Shut out, apparently, of the premises by the military attaché.
Yeah, so I was, watching some of the Facebook live streams from some of the Myanmar diaspora that turned up at the embassy, and it is really quite shocking in a way to see something like that happening in a major city like London. Quite brazen that the military, the military attaché would be going in, locking the door, and then telling the ambassador or refusing to the ambassador to come in. Now, I think it is worth remembering that, there is a bit of an ambivalence among some of the diaspora community, because the ambassador in London, the Myanmar ambassador in London, Mr. Jia Zhuamin, he did not publicly back the civil disobedience movement like some other Myanmar diplomats around the world have taken part in. Or he also did not pledge allegiance to the civilian government, the CRPH, which was set up by elected MPs that cannot take their place in parliament because of the coup. Having said that, he did put out a release calling for the release of Daw Aung San Suu Kyi and U Win Myint, and he also met up with Daw Aung San Suu Kyi's son in London, and that may have been just enough to anger the junta. It does beg the question, though, that if the junta is willing to do something like that, like I said, in a place like London, what would they do anywhere else?
Lin Le Win of Myanmar Now, joining us from Rome. Thank you very much indeed. And of course, we continue to look for all developments on the story in Myanmar and, of course, the developments, as we were just discussing, in London. Next, the United States is making a reversal of Trump-era decisions to cut aid to the